Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Sipping Wealth Live, where I bring you news, tips, and tricks on how to wealth up. So, we are back with another episode, and we're also getting ready for quite the storm here in Florida. But I do want to make sure we continue on giving this wealth of information on the lives and also making sure that you're sharing this with your family and friends. So, as usual, um, thank you for those that are tuning in, that are just joining in. Um, as usual, if you do have any questions while I'm live, feel free to drop it in the comment section, even if it's to engage with the post or say, hey, what's up, girl, whatever the case may be. But I do want to make sure that I hop right into the topic. Today, we're going to go over some hurricane readiness, kind of stay on brand, if you will. What we're kind of dealing with all the storms and hurricanes that are coming through the states. So we are going to be talking about some things that we need to make sure that we're keeping in mind, and things that we need in place as things like this happen. We don't have control over natural disasters like this, but making sure that hey, our financial house is as secure as possible is where we would like to be. So I am going to be sharing some insight with y'all today. Again, per usual, if you do have any questions, make sure you drop it in the comment section, as well as hitting the subscribe button and the notification bell on the Sipping Wealth YouTube channel so that you don't miss out on any lives. Okay, I want to make sure. All right, y'all. So for starters, we do want to make sure now we have our emergency fund. Okay. Even when we're, doing our budgeting or in general, we do want to make sure that we're taking into account, hey, how much money do we need to make sure that we're putting to the side to build that emergency fund? And it comes heavy into place with it is more important in cases like this where you have a natural disaster like a hurricane and you have repairs to your home or maybe your vehicle or things just happen and you're needing to cover unexpected expenses. So instead of taking on additional debt, this is when that emergency fund is able to kind of step in and take care of those unexpected costs. So making sure that we are building out and being intentional about having that emergency fund. The next thing is to make sure that you're reviewing your insurance policies. Okay, so whether it's your homeowner's insurance, your renter's insurance, auto insurance, life insurance, flood insurance, reviewing those policies to actually understand what exactly is covered. Um, because or you may say that, oh my gosh, the deductible on maybe like hurricane repairs or things like that is not included, or it's such a high deductible. I mean, that insurance is not included, or such a high deductible. Or, oh my gosh, I was supposed to have flood insurance on top of this. Whatever case may be. But reviewing this ahead of time ensures that you're actually prepared for, things like this when they do come up. The next is updating your life insurance beneficiaries. All right. So if you do have life insurance, which I'm going to touch on more about life insurance as we go into the live, because that is kind of what we're making sure that we're hit on throughout these last few weeks and then the next few weeks. But making sure that ideally you have, if you do have life insurance, making sure that you updated your life insurance beneficiaries to ensure that your current benefits or beneficiaries actually reflect where you want any life changes, maybe marriage, divorce, new children, whatever the case may be, so that hey, if anything were to happen, that's the death benefit, things like that, or can go to the beneficiaries that you intended to go to. All right. And then also just even on your loved ones, maybe your parents, things like that, maybe have policies for them as well. So, just overall looking at the beneficiaries and just looking at the policies altogether. Um, The next is to make digital copies of, important documents. So I don't know about you, but I know like back in the day, or even like now, my mom still has like a firebox. And it has like important documents and things like that. And then in grade school, we would always be like, "Hey, mom," or I need my birth certificate, whatever important document." And she goes into the firebox with her key, and she goes through it and gives us whatever document. But we do want to make sure that, hey, there is a digital copy of this, because, you know, my mother, she was smart enough to make sure, hey, she actually has a firebox. But things happen. Maybe you don't have a firebox. Maybe you don't have a system like that. So making sure that you do have a digital copy of these important documents, because time and time again, it happens where documents get lost. Oh my gosh, now you got to go back to Social Security or file paperwork with Social Security to get new cards or immigration or whatever the case may be. But making sure that you have a digital copy can help with even ensuring that, hey, if the physical copy is lost, it's a easier process with obtaining a new physical copy, or saying, hey, I know that I at least have a digital copy of it on a drive somewhere. All right. So make copies of those important documents, y'all. Don't want to be stuck. You do not want to be stuck. Okay. Cash. Keep cash on hand, okay? Because cash is king. I know, and I'm guilty of this. The millennial in me just wants to swipe and tap and all that. But making sure you have cash. I even had to make sure that, hey, I need to have some cash in this house, because or at least a few dollars of some money on me if anything were to happen, because hey, cash will always be able to be exchanged, versus, oh my gosh, I can't do anything, or I can't, whatever, doesn't take debit card, my phone is not working, I can't tap, I can't cash app, whatever. But if you have cash, you know that you can always exchange it for any goods or anything that you're needing. So make sure that you have some kind of cash. Keep some cash on hand, especially if there's a power outage, y'all. If there's a power outage, you can't, ATM, a lot of things are not going to be able to be used. So making sure that you have cash allows you to, still get by overall. Keep some inventory, household inventory of different things. So uh oh, because for example, I have one of my trainers at my gym that I go to. She and my the woman that teaches the cycling class, from the last hurricane, she was talking about how, oh my gosh, how her home got flooded, and it ruined her cabinets and things like that. So making sure that you have a inventory of the different things in your home is important, because if you have to tell the insurance company or process claims, then you're able to say, hey, this is what I have in my home, this is what got messed up, versus you trying to figure out, oh my gosh, I think this is included, because the insurance company, they only want to pay out what they need to pay out. So making sure that you have photos of these things is very important. So that was something that I had to learn too, like with my home, is like, oh my gosh, I need to make sure that I have a file or some kind of idea of what's in my home. Because if anything were to happen, if I have any damage, roof collapse, storm damage, like my trainer, then I'm able to effectively put in a claim, send in the photos, and show that, hey, these pictures were taken this time, and this is what was in my home at the time that whatever incident occurred. All right. The next is to make sure that you're communicating with the insurance company, so that whether it's life insurance or property insurance, communicate with them to see, hey, different things that may impact your claim, or different things that you need to make sure uh, that may impact the insurance, or where you need to actually put in a claim with the insurance company because of something like a hurricane. So making sure that you're aware of the different things that you can take advantage of, the different things that the insurance company will cover, the different things that, hey, my policy doesn't currently cover this. Do I need to look into another policy? Do I need to look into another company? Whatever the case may be. But making sure that you're overall aware of what you currently have is necessary. So communicate with your insurance agent on whether it's property insurance, life insurance, whatever the case may be. Um, Evaluate your disability insurance needs. So with a lot of life insurance policies, which I'm a hard believer, a true believer in making sure that you do have life insurance. All right. So, in having life insurance, for example, with one of the carriers I'm appointed with, within their policies they have additional riders for chronic illness, terminal illness. They have riders that's already included in the policy. So if anything were to happen, where hey, these are living benefits, where the person's not dead yet, but there are things like illnesses that is preventing them from actually being able to live a normal life. So, hey, what is that? Do you have disability insurance? These are things that we don't expect to happen. But when they do happen, or if they do happen, I should say, if they do happen, wouldn't it feel great if we're able to tap into something like this? And it could be as simple as saying, hey, I'm going to get a term policy to start off with, and then go into something whole life, more permanent, later on when I'm more financially stable. But overall, evaluating your disability and life insurance needs. And then this could also help with, giving you some kind of income while you recover. Establish a financial emergency plan, y'all. Overall, you know, plan. Get a plan in place. Okay, I'm just gonna leave it there. Get a plan. A go bag. So, a go bag, or some kind of filing system or area where you're like, hey, if I need to grab everything and go, like my mother's firebox, for example. If my mom was like, oh my gosh, I have to hurry up and leave this property, then she know she could grab her firebox, grab one other thing or another thing, and she can go and get out the house, because she knows that, hey, everything is in this firebox, and everything else is in this particular area. So having a system like that in place is is really effective. Like, I think it's a great system. Just being able to say, hey, once I grab this firebox, or once I grab this secure filing thing, firebox essentially, or secure whatever other equipment they call it these days. Who knows? I don't know. But to go ahead and grab it and hit the road, you have it. So, a go bag for important documents that actually have like a fire and water safety connected to it. And overall, evaluate your costs. So this also links back with the having that emergency plan and emergency fund in place. Because if you know, hey, if I have to evacuate and I have to leave, I need to have some sort of money in order to do that. So there are a lot of people that are living paycheck to paycheck, or can't even afford to evacuate. So that is a very sad and hard predicament to be in. I was speaking with a friend a couple of days ago, and no, literally yesterday, and I'm sending her the update, and I'm like, wow, this storm's going to be really tough in Tampa, and we're looking at the update, and I'm like, I hope these people are going to be okay. And then she's like, yeah, oh my gosh, they need to evacuate because there's no way. And I'm like, unfortunately, a lot of people won't even be able to won't even have the financial means to evacuate. So they can't afford it. They can't afford the fuel, the lodging, or the hotel stay, whatever needed to actually leave. So they're stuck having to go through a storm like this, potentially having their walls caved in, fighting for their lives potentially because they don't have the financial means to evacuate. So this is another reason why making sure you have something like an emergency fund is so important. But we don't put enough importance on making sure that we have an emergency fund. We put so much more importance on, oh my gosh, I deserve this. Oh my gosh, I need a coffee. Oh my gosh, I need um, to get my nails done. Oh my gosh, I need dessert. Oh my gosh, I need this, whatever the case may be. But not enough to say, oh my gosh, I need to make sure I put $10 a week into this account that's at another bank, and just start building up from there, because I know some day in the future, I'm going to need this money. We don't put enough importance on that. And unfortunately, we wait until a disaster like this comes around, and we're in a predicament where the house did cave in, the walls did cave in, and we're fighting. And we're like, dang, oh my gosh, how did I get here? Now that you feel that pain, don't get to these point where you're feeling the pain of, oh my gosh, shoulda, coulda, woulda, when you could have started by putting that extra $10 away, instead of going for that coffee, instead of going for that dessert, instead of going out. Say, hey, I'm just gonna put that $10 a week away and start building from there, and work on building that emergency fund, even if it's that $10 or $20, whatever it is. You know, I file so many different type of people's tax return. Some people, like very few of my clients, few of them make like, say, like 40K, 30 something K for the year. And they're like, oh my gosh, where did all that money go? And, they have children. They made 30K for the year. They have children, and they're managing with that money. And then you have another person that makes 60, double that amount, 60K for the year, and they're struggling the same as that person that made 30K for the year. Like, we tend to add additional bills and expenses as we earn more money. But if we said, hey, we're going to put away that $10 a week, that $20 a week, instead of adding additional debt or adding additional stuff we really can't afford, and making sure that we have an emergency fund for things like this, that could make the difference between making sure that you are safe during a hurricane, an impactful situation like this, versus you saying, oh my God, I can't even afford to evacuate. I can't afford to put gas in the car, get a hotel in another area to keep my family safe. We have to thug it out because we're broke. So heavy on making sure that you have an emergency fund. Like we play ha 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 kiki. Oh my gosh, I don't want to get a budget. I don't want to, oh my gosh, I got to build an emergency fund. And you complain and you put it off as if this is not something important. But it's a make or break situation. People are in really messed up situations right now. They're stuck. So instead of waiting for something like this to happen, a disaster to happen, and you realizing, oh my gosh, I really can't evacuate. Oh my gosh, I really can't even afford to buy a case of water to survive for the next week. If the power were to go out, then we can't even start a fire or whatever the case may be. Making sure you got that emergency fund. All right, so I just had to get real with y'all because there's just I talk about budgeting. I go live. I give financial information all the time, but we don't put enough importance into making sure that you have you have your finances straight. Like somebody's gonna figure it out for you. No, that's not how it works. No one's gonna figure out your finances for you. You have to do the work behind it. It's you. It's your life. You're completely in control of it. So the decisions you make is going to affect your future overall. So make sure that you got that emergency fund. Credit if you're in a situation where you have to use credit, of course we want to use it wisely, because yeah, it is borrowed money, and we are eventually going to have to pay it back, especially with these interest rates these days. These interest rates are hitting 30% plus on these credit cards. Insane. 30% on a credit card, but they're hidden there. So, but yeah, so use credit wisely. And then for if you are a business owner, make sure that you have a continuity plan. So, or if you do want the business to continue to move forward, make sure you do have something in place that, hey, if you have a brick and mortar and you have to shut your doors to do repairs or things like that for the next few weeks, that you actually have some money in place, that you have assets in place where you're able to, or even insurance, business insurance policies, to actually help with navigating through this that time period. All right. So if you need assistance overall, I want to make sure that I keep this live relatively shorter, because if you do have to go back and listen to things that I've covered, go back and check it out. Take a listen, share this information. But I do want to make sure that y'all get serious. We put this stuff on the back burner too much. Too much. All right. Nobody's going to care about your life more than you. No one. OMG, I need a vacation. Girl, me and you both. I need another one. I just came back from vacation not too long ago, y'all. Mind you, I have another one planned next month. But I can't wait. um, but yes. Hopefully this is helpful. If y'all do have any questions, make sure that you reach out. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Sipping Wealth Live, where I bring you news, tips, and tricks on how to wealth up, y'all. Have a great evening.